Hello, everyone. My name is Alexander Lucard, and I am an HMIS system administrator for Montgomery County. In today's training, we're going to cover an important step called Enter Data As. We're going to show you how to do it and why we do it. Now, when you first log into HMIS, you're going to go to this home screen here. This is the first thing you're going to see after you log in. In the upper right-hand corner is going to be a little tab that says Enter Data As. See how it's highlighted here in silver when I run my mouse over it? You want to do this as soon as you log into HMIS. Enter Data As is going to determine what program you are doing your data as. You'll sometimes hear or see Enter Data As referred to as EDA. And so anytime you see EDA, that's what it means. It means to enter data as. So let's click on the button here. In this case, we can see that this provider, this user, has 7 different providers that they work with. We can see Dorothy Day Men, Dorothy Day Women, Montgomery County COC Coordinated Entry Project, Rapid Rehousing Families HSP, Rapid Rehousing Families HUD, Rapid Rehousing Singles HSP, and Rapid Rehousing Singles HUD. So this particular end user has these 7 different programs that they work with. And what you want to do is make sure that when you're going to HMIS and doing your data, that you're doing it as the right provider. So for example, if we wanted to do Dorothy Day Men, we'd click on the little green circle here. And now we can see up in the upper right-hand corner, we are doing Enter Data as Dorothy Day Place Men. And if we wanted to go back to our default program, we just turn it off by clicking on the name. So again, Enter Data as Dorothy Day Men, green circle here. There's Dorothy Day Men. And let's say we're doing some work as Dorothy Day Men, and then we need to go and do something as a different provider. We click Enter Data as again, and we can pick any one of the remaining programs. Now remember, we used to have 7, but now we only have 6. Why is that? Because we're already doing data as Dorothy Day Men, so there's no need for it to come in the list here. Now if we do Dorothy Day Women, you can see we've switched to Dorothy Day Women. And if we go back to change the provider, Dorothy Day Men is on there now because we're not doing Enter Data as. But the program we are EDAing as, Dorothy Day Place Women, is not on the list because there's no point, because why would you switch from Dorothy Day Women to Dorothy Day Women? So you can see we just have all these different little lists here. And the more programs you have as an end user, the more important it is that you remember to do the switching between the programs as you work on a client. You don't want to do your work as Dorothy Day Women if you're supposed to be doing it as Dorothy Day Men or Rapid Rehousing Singles HSP. You want to make sure that you are putting your data in under the right program. And so why do we do this? It's because clients might be giving different information from one program to another. This is especially true between different providers. What they give to Bethesda Care might be different information than they self-report to Interfaith. And so we don't want the information to overlap if it's different. What we want to do is make sure that we're only pulling information and reports to that specific provider. So if client Joe Schmo is currently at Dorothy Day Men and at Bethesda Care at the same time, could happen, and he's giving different information for various reasons. There's a lot of reasons why a client might self-report differently. When we run a report on Dorothy Day Men, we want to make sure that we're only pulling the Dorothy Day Men data. And the best way to do that is by doing Enter Data as. That way we aren't pulling different information from a different provider. Now, you might also be going, well, why can't I just have one straight up provider for all these programs? And again, it's the same thing. If a person's in Dorothy Day Men and they move to, say, Family HSP, even within the same provider, this is Catholic Charities here. So even within Catholic Charities, they might be giving different self-reporting information between the program types. Dorothy Day is Bridge, and HSP is a Rapid Rehousing. So they might give different information, and we don't want there to be an overlap. We want to make sure that we keep all the information tied to the specific EDA provider. Now, I hope that makes sense. That's really all there is to EDA, but I do want to add one extra step. Let's say we go in, and let's go look at Elroy Jetson. Now remember, you don't have to type the full name in. We're going to look up Elroy Jetson, but we could just do 2 or 3 letters in the name to try and find it. So you can see here, with just a few letters, we're able to find the client. We're going to click on the client and we're going to start to do information. We're going to enter some data in. Oh, look, this client is Rapid Rehousing Family HSP, right? Oh, we're entering data as is Dorothy Day Women. So this is going to be a mistake, and it's going to be a not good. It's going to be a pretty big mistake. And what's going to happen is I'm going to enter the data as under Dorothy Day Women, and we don't want that. But we're doing this on purpose to show you how to do a cleanup. So we're going to pretend that I'm ignorant. It's been a long day. I'm tired, and I just forgot to enter data. You know, I'm not paying attention. I just ignorantly forget to do EDA. It happens. It's going to happen to everyone. We can see here, oh, that's right. I have to go enter all this information about Elroy in because we forgot to do it back in the day. So I'm going to do self, head of household. Oh, here's his birthday. He's 8 years old. So let's say we're going to put in 01/01/2013. Date of birth full. Primary race, let's say white. We don't need to do secondary race. Ethnicity, non-Hispanic, gender male. So we're just going to answer these few questions, right? Normally we would answer every single question here, and I think it's going to make me do it anyway because that's what the system is. So let's do it anyway. Does the client have a disabling condition? No. HUD verification, we're going to choose no. And I'm speeding through this because we have other trainings on how to do HUD verification in the entry exit, because I just want to show you how to clean up errors when you make a mistake like this. Our living situation. He's a child. He's only 8 years old. He doesn't have that. So we're doing all this work here, right? We're going through, we're cleaning up our data. We're doing it good. Child doesn't have any of these issues. I'm going to say he's not on Medicaid. He's not a domestic violence survivor. We're going to save it. And then we go, oh no, we entered it as Dorothy Day Women, right? Let's go back in and do it as the right program. And what's the right program again? Family HSP. So we're going to choose that. And we're going to go back in to Elroy. All right. And we can see, hey, look, all of this data is showing up. That's great, right? Maybe I didn't make that big of a mistake. But let's look on the history document. We click on history. We can see the provider is Dorothy Day Place Women, which means when we pull data and we run reports and say art or click, you know, there's a thing that asks us for the EDA option. And a lot of times you're going to put in the actual name of the program there. When you do the EDA provider in those reports, it's going to say, who do you want? We're going to choose, you know, the name of the program. In this case, it would be HSP Families. And it's going to look for all the data provided by HSP Families in each of these questions. But because the data was provided by Dorothy Day Place Women, it's not going to pull. It's going to come up and it's going to say null value, null value, null value. Please enter all this information. And you're going to be like, look, I did the information. You did it, but you did it as Dorothy Day Place Women rather than HSP Family. And that means you have to redo everything. Now, if you notice, when we click on the history, there usually would be a trash can here, but there isn't, because you can only use the trash can under the provider that you EDA'd in. So to fix all this information, what you're going to have to do is go up, get out of here, click enter data as, go back into Dorothy Day Women, since that's the one you made the error in. Go to entry exit, go back into your entry exit, and you're gonna have to start trashing stuff. Trash. And look how long this takes. We spend all that time putting the data in correctly. And we've got to trash all that Dorothy Day. Right? So we trash and we trash and we trash. We're not going to trash the whole thing because this is just a training, but you will literally have to go in if you EDA the wrong one and trash every piece of information you entered as that incorrect provider. Hit save and exit. And now we're going to go back in as HSP family, which is the correct provider. Because again, the entry exit is done as HSP. So we want the data to be entered as Rapid Rehousing Family HSP. And then we go back in. Let me do it right. If I hit save, right? Now we can see. We click on the history, and we can see that the Rapid Rehousing Family HSP Catholic Charities. So this will pull correctly in reports like the APR or any of the ART reports that you have that use EDA for running the reports. And we can scroll down here and we can see, of course, see provider Dorothy Day Women, which means we still have to fix it. HSP families, HSP. So remember, we want to make sure that we do our EDA as the correct provider so we don't have to go back and take all that time to delete everything and then re-enter it correct. That's all there is for an EDA training. Really, doing EDA is super easy. Again, all you do is you go in, you're on your home screen when you first log in, you click EDA, you pick your program, and you're good to go. It only takes seconds to do. You just have to remember to switch between your providers as you do programs. So in this case, if you go from Dorothy Day Men to Women, you want to remember to go EDA, Dorothy Day Women, EDA, Dorothy Day Men. So the more programs you have, the more important it is you remember to make the step. And the more programs you have, the more likely it is, especially when you're new, that you're going to make an EDA error just because you forget to switch between all the different programs. My advice is if you're going to do data cleanup or work, do all of your work as one program and then switch over. So don't do piecemeal. Like in this case, we wouldn't go HSP family, then do one client in HSP singles, and then one client in Dorothy Day Men. I would do all the clients in HSP families, then all the clients in HSP singles that I have to do for the day, then all the clients for Dorothy Day Men that I have to do for a day. That's going to reduce your EDA errors. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you will participate in some more of these other trainings. There is also a PowerPoint version of this training if you'd like to have a copy of that. Again, thank you and have a great day.